Imagine standing in the icy wind of a prehistoric winter. No cities, no houses, no metal tools, just the open steppe, roaring winds, and a thin layer of animal skin between life and death. We often think of prehistoric humans as primitive, barely surviving, huddled around fires, draped in random furs. But what if we've misunderstood the entire story? What if clothing wasn't just about warmth, but one of the earliest technologies of survival, innovation, and even identity? Somewhere between 100,000 and 40,000 years ago, humanity did something extraordinary. They learned to engineer protection. Long before the first wheel or the first written word, humans began stitching together the very fabric of civilization: clothing. And as we peel back the layers of time, a haunting question emerges. How did our ancestors, without needles, scissors, or cloth, manage to craft the first garments? And what drove them to do it? Because this isn't just the story of clothing. It's the story of how humans learned to master nature by wearing it.
To understand how it began, we need to travel back roughly 300,000 years to a time when Homo sapiens shared the planet with Neanderthals, Denisovans, and others we've never found. In the warm savannas of Africa, early humans thrived nearly naked. Their bodies, covered with sweat glands, were built to cool efficiently, a biological advantage for endurance hunting. Clothing wasn't necessary. But everything changed when they left Africa. As they migrated north into colder climates, skin alone was no longer enough. The human body couldn't survive sub-zero temperatures. Those who didn't adapt perished. Those who did learned to wrap themselves in nature. A hunted animal was no longer just food. It was a toolkit. Its bones became weapons, its sinews became thread, and its hide became armor. Archaeologists call it one of the great invisible revolutions, because clothing doesn't fossilize, it disappears. For decades, scientists could only guess when it began. Then came a strange clue: lice. Genetic studies found that clothing lice split from head lice about 170,000 years ago. That meant humans were already wearing clothes, because those lice could only survive in fabric. It was a revolution hidden in the seams of evolution. The first clothing wasn't stitched, it was wrapped, tied, and draped. Hunters softened hides by scraping them with stone tools, rubbing them with animal fat, or chewing them to make them flexible. These weren't random acts. They were the beginnings of chemistry. Smoke tanning, bark tanning, and fat curing, each technique discovered through centuries of trial and error. Bone awls pierced holes, sinews tied them shut, the earliest form of sewing. Every garment was handmade, essential, sacred, a piece of life itself. Then came the Ice Age, the ultimate test. The world froze, and survival meant innovation. Humans created layered garments, fur on the inside, waterproof hide on the outside. Parkas, leggings, boots, every design born from necessity. And 5,300 years ago, a man named Ötzi was buried in the Alps. When scientists found him, they discovered a masterpiece of prehistoric fashion: grass-lined shoes, stitched leggings, and a woven cloak. He wasn't unique. He was the result of thousands of years of ingenuity. Once humans mastered warmth, clothing evolved beyond survival. Beads, feathers, shells, the first decorations appeared. A hunter's coat became a badge of pride. A chief's cloak became a symbol of power. Clothing turned into communication, a silent language of who we are. Clothing enabled migration, It allowed humans to survive in ice, snow, and deserts. It inspired craftsmanship. The invention of bone needles and tanning tools laid the foundation for future industries. It fostered cooperation. Making clothes required teamwork. Hunters, tanners, and stitchers working as one. Clothing didn't just protect individuals, it wove entire societies together. As climates changed again, clothing alone couldn't save everyone. Some groups relied too heavily on certain animals, like mammoths, and vanished when those species disappeared. Others struggled when materials wore out faster than they could replace them. Clothing became a burden, a dependency that needed constant upkeep. It was humanity's first technological trap, survival tied to invention. Fast forward to today. From animal skins to synthetic fibers, the story continues. The average person owns 150 garments, but wears only 20% of them. The fashion industry emits 10% of global carbon emissions, more than aviation and shipping combined. Every second, a garbage truck of textiles is burned or dumped. We've gone from wearing nature to drowning in it. Every age of clothing follows the same cycle: necessity to innovation, to excess, to collapse, to reinvention. Prehistoric humans made clothes to survive. Industrial humans made them to consume. Now, we must make them to redeem. Main point 1. Clothing was humanity's first true technology. It enabled survival and civilization. Main point 2. Innovation always creates dependency, a double-edged sword. Main point 3. The same creativity that saved us from the Ice Age must now save us from climate collapse. Warning: if we forget the origins of what we wear, we risk turning our oldest craft into our greatest curse. Call to action. The next time you put on a jacket, remember you're wearing a 170,000-year-old story of courage. Respect it, repair it, reuse it, because the future of humanity may depend on what we choose to wear next. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more deep stories about humanity's forgotten technologies.